Welcome back, internet friends. Today I would like to discuss with you the prophecies of Mitar Tarabich. Now Mitar was a Serbian prophet from a small village. He was completely illiterate, but he did have visions of the future, many of them that came true. Now he was born in 1829 and he died in 1899, over 120 years ago. But he predicted not only both world wars, but a third coming world war. He also predicted space travel, iPhones, and the current pandemic that we are facing today in 2020, COVID19. I'm making this video for you here from my secluded Mexican beach house. I'm here because I'm trying to avoid people and prevent myself from getting infected. But I figured this was a wonderful time to share some of these prophet stories with you. Now Mitar shared these visions with his godfather, who was a priest, and his priest wrote them all down, but they have been roughly translated. For the sake of time, I'm not going to go over every single prediction, but I'm going to focus more on the events he predicted after World War II, and then we're going to talk about his predictions that are happening today. I'm going to read directly from Mitar's quotes, and then relay some historical facts. Let's start with the predictions Mitar made just after World War II. After the Great War, peace will reign all over the world. Many new states will appear, black, white, red, and yellow. An international court is formed, which does not allow countries to fight each other. This court will be above all kings. Where a war starts, the court will judge justly, trying to transform hatred and butchery into love and peace. The lucky ones who live to see these times will be more than happy. Historically, in December of 1945, the United Nations was established. Articles 33 to 38 of the Charter authorized the Security Council to encourage fighting nations to settle their differences through peaceful means, including negotiations, inquiry, mediation, conciliation, arbitration, and judicial settlement. That explains the United Nations being formed after World War II. More predictions. After a while, some great kings, as well as some small ones, will start to fake their respect for the court, while doing whatever they please. Many small wars will begin because of this. Thousands upon thousands will die, but there will be no big wars. This is in reference to the Korean War, happening in 1950, and the Vietnam War, which was in the 1960s and 70s. There was the Afghanistan War, the Nicaraguan War. As we know, many small wars that cost tens of thousands of lives have broken out since World War II. So he predicted the United Nations, and he predicted a lot of small wars following. But here's where it gets really interesting. His prediction: "You see, my godfather, when the world starts to live in peace and abundance after the second big war, all of that will just be a bitter illusion. Because many will forget God. They will worship only their own human intelligence. With the increase in scientific knowledge and the consequence of scientific explanation of phenomena formerly considered supernatural, atheism became more and more natural and less despised as a philosophical trend." So he's predicting here that people will start turning away from God in the late 2000s and 90s, which we've seen media, music, everything has become less godly. When I was young, there was a band called Godsmack. And this was like the most profound artists. They were openly Satan worshipers and actually made some pretty cool music. But as time has progressed, we've seen the worship of the devil and the forgetfulness of God and light in this world. If you watch Netflix now, we have shows like Lucifer and the new Sabrina, the teenage witch. The new American Horror Story was all about devil worship. Our current culture is in love with the worship of darkness, evil, and Satan. This is my favorite prediction. This is about the iPhone. Men will build a box, and within will be some kind of gadget with images, but they will not be able to communicate with me being already dead. Even though this image gadget will be as close to this other world as the hairs on the human scalp are close to each other. With the help of this image gadget, man will be able to see everything that is happening all over the world. This is talking about the invention of computers and iPhones and televisions. Now Mitar died over 120 years ago, long before the first televisions were ever created. And somehow he knew that we would have these gadgets. I believe the gadgets he speaks of are the iPhones and the computers of the world. and the ability to see everything that is going on in the world, that would be our internet. This next prediction discusses fracking. People will drill deep into the ground and dig out gold, which will give them light, speed, and power. The earth will shed tears of sorrow because there will be much more gold and light on its surface than on its interior. The earth will suffer because of these open wounds. Instead of working in the fields, people will dig everywhere, in the right and wrong places, but the real power will be all around them, not being able to tell them, "Come on, take me. Don't you see that I am here, all around you?" Only after many a summer, people will remember this real power, and then they will realize how stupid it was to dig all those holes. Oil and petroleum are known as black gold, and those things power cars, electric generators, planes, and so much other technology. Exploration in oil fields is an economically risky task, but in the 1980s, the oil exploration technique was perfected. Although the risk of discovering economically non-viable oil fields still exists, I particularly think that this is discussing fracking because for some reason, much of the United States has decided to use the fracking technique, which is a very expensive and damaging to the environment technique for getting this black gold out of the earth. I believe the power that is all around us that he refers to is most likely the power that was suppressed by Nikola Tesla and his Tesla coils that could harness the Earth's magnetic field and give us free electricity. He could even transmute the electricity from one coil to another. Tesla knew that the Earth was abundant with natural free energy, but his ideas were buried, and humans have been digging for black gold and still do today. His next predictions get even creepier. People will do many stupid things, thinking that they know and can do everything, but really not knowing anything. Wise men will appear in the Orient, and their wisdom will cross all seas and frontiers, but the people will not trust this wisdom for a very long time, and the real truth will be proclaimed as a lie. Their souls will not be possessed by the devil, but by something much worse. They will believe that their illusion is the real truth, although there will be no truth in their heads. In Serbia, it will not be possible to distinguish a man from a woman. Everybody will dress the same. This calamity will come to us from abroad, but it will stay with us the longest. A groom will take a bride, but nobody will know who is who. People will be lost and more senseless day by day. Men will be born not knowing who was their grandfather and their great-grandfather. People will think that they know everything, but not a thing they will actually know. This is a long quote, and it covers a lot of cultural things I believe we're going through. I believe it covers the Great Awakening, what's happening right now with consciousness and people. When Mitar talks about the wisdom from the Orient, I believe he's talking about some of the Buddhist wisdom and the Zen ideology that is slowly perpetuating into today's culture. I see a popularity of yoga, meditation, and people trying to find peace amid all this chaos and distraction of technology. I believe he's right when he says people will do many stupid things and they will know close to nothing. The truth is that in today's world, most people don't know how to fish, most people don't know how to farm or grow food, and they know a lot of pointless knowledge. We see kids today on TikTok hurting themselves or doing foolish things, getting themselves put in jail for scaring and hurting others. They're using these gadgets we've invented and our technology for dark magic and bad means. His last quote where he talks about men and women not being distinguishable from each other. I believe this is talking about the current trans movement and how there's a push to actually get youngsters on hormones and this strange sexual corruption that has come into the Western society. It's all right for people to be whoever they want to be and to love whoever they want to love. But if you look at the procreation of the human race, it's not ideal for men to turn into women and women to turn into men. It's also very confusing to have these gender roles blend and swap. Men are natural protectors and have natural strength. Women are natural nurturers, and they've been given gifts to nurture life in this world. But we are being taught that those things don't matter and they aren't real. I think the genders aren't supposed to compete with each other. They're not supposed to turn into each other and become some one gender or 800 genders. They're supposed to complement each other. Men and women should work together, create homes, love, and complement each other's skills. Mitar saw that the genders would blend like they are today. Things get really interesting as we've begun to reach the current era, 2020. Mitar's prediction says, the whole world will be plagued by a strange disease and nobody will be able to find a cure. Everybody will say, I know, because I am learned and I am smart. But nobody will really know anything. People will think and think, but they will not be able to find the right cure, which will be with God's help all around them and in themselves. In this paragraph, he discusses COVID-19. He talks of a strange disease that we have no cure for. And right now, we may be experimenting with various treatments and we are working on a vaccine, but we still don't have an exact cure for COVID-19. And in the United States, we are currently approaching the peak of this pandemic. Supposedly, the worst 2 weeks are just ahead of us in early April. 2020 has been a defining year in my life, and I'm sure it has in yours too. This virus, this plague, has touched all of us in some way. It's hurt our lives, and it was predicted by Mitar Tarabich. This one really touches my heart because it resonates with today. The more people will know, the less they will love and care for each other. Hatred will be so great between them that they will care more for their different gadgets than they will for their relatives. Man will trust his gadget more than his first neighbor. And we see this everywhere. People are becoming detached from each other and more absorbed in their cell phones. Cell phones and technology have been a great benefit to us, but I believe that in about 2008, we reached our peak in technology as far as morality goes. We created the internet, and the internet was free. We had all this other technology, computers, but they were still attached to the wall, and wireless technology was new. Whereas now, 13 years after 2007, the internet has been censored, it's been corrupted, and our technology is distracting us rather than helping us. Our cell phone towers have become so powerful that they have 5G radiation. It causes headaches in myself. I'm here in Mexico because my migraines were terrible. They just put up a huge cell phone tower next to where I stay. And so our technology has gone from the peak and now it's going backwards. And it's destroying our humanity, our environment. It's destroying us. And that's where I'll leave these predictions for today. If you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, informative, entertaining, go ahead, smash the like button. Please feel free to subscribe. I'll be doing more videos all the time. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to leave a comment. Tell me what you think of Mitar Tarabich's prophecies. Good luck and God bless you all. Just have a great day.